Thunderbirds against Giants Netball. This is going to wrap up round 2 of Suncorp Super Netball. Matt Russell, Maddie Brown and Shani Norder to bring you this one. Both teams opening their campaigns with victory a week ago, and both with similar stats, shooting up around or above 90%. Possession, they dominated that. The Thunderbirds have never started 2-0. That's the opportunity today, but opportunity also for a host of Giants, including Amy Sliger, who has the centre pass. We're underway in Adelaide. Jo Harton, won't she play an important role, a pivotal role for the Giants? Her experience, her leadership, so important in this vastly changed lineup for Julie Fitzgerald. Maddie Hay, she was good last week, second only to Jamie Lee Price in terms of Nissan net points. And the first goal of the game goes to the underdogs, the Giants, through Jo Harton.
A nice little settler there for them. They definitely needed to just kind of have a nice, easy shot and hopefully build the pressure here in defence.
April Branley only able to play half a game for the Giants last week as she returns from an Achilles problem. Here she is making life difficult for Tipper Dwan.
Few undisciplined penalties already there for the Giants. You want to build that pressure nice and strong at the start. Set your intention with your body presence, but not be out of play too often.
The attacking end for Adelaide last week, Tipper Dwan, Lenise Potgieter, Georgie Horges, so exciting. And so many opportunities at that part of the court for Tanya Rolfs, the coach.
Absolutely, and we just see Sterling come out there on that nice side pocket ball. She's going to be hard to obviously keep the ball low out of the air so she doesn't come into the game. Just like that.
Under pressure, and Shamira Sterling puts a foot out of court. So Jo Harton with the throw in. A bit of luck for the Giants, and they'll need that luck today. After their much publicised difficult week as Harton drops another one. Jo Harton last week, 26 of 34 at 76%, so down on last season's numbers. Now Tipper Dwan tries to link with Horges and they give it up. Amy Sliger with the pickup. Now Harton a long way from home.
I'm sure Lauren Moore, nice to just get her hands on the ball. As we've said, she only came into training for the first time yesterday. So expect some of these girls that haven't trained a lot to maybe take it a little bit easy, work themselves into the game. But Jo Harton, I was going to say, starting really strongly and getting her team on the line. Commentators curse already.
Her third shot rims out. Maddie Garrett, her pass off the mark, collected by a Giants debutante today, Lauren Moore. She's one of those players to return late out of COVID protocols, and it's all a bit sloppy as April Branley says, let's get up court. Harton now.
Giants are getting forced to the pockets quite easily by the Thunderbirds. I'd love to see Hay and Sliger try and get to that top position, really dominate the middle channel. Obviously, defensively, Thunderbirds putting them into the pocket so that the defenders can come out and have a pick at those intercepts.
Harton sends the Giants further ahead. It's been a shaky start, it must be said, from both teams. And you wonder what Adelaide's mindset is today, given that they have followed all the dramas this week and wondered who they're going to be playing.
Well, it can be really hard coming up a team that you have not a lot of information about. So they really need to just get some nice, easy, close goals to post, but they've just got some uncharacteristic turnovers here creeping in.
Well, Shani Norton, we spoke before centre pass about the difficulty for the Giants, but likewise, you were saying that it wouldn't have been easy for the Thunderbirds this week.
Yeah, look, it's not when you're coming up against a team like exactly what Maddie said, but you just don't know what they're doing. And there's a lot of pressure on the Thunderbirds to win today. Like, it's going to be, they'll be very hard on themselves, and so will everyone else if they went down to the Giants when they don't have their full team. So, but I guess on a strategic point of view, have a look at the defence here. So Giants are going with this tight one-on-one pressure. How's that knock for you? Whereas the Thunderbirds are going for a bit of a zone today, which is what's forcing those attackers into the pockets.
Denise Potgieter answers the goal you saw a moment ago from Matisse Leatherbarrow. That's the first for Leatherbarrow in this game. And also a shot of Chelsea Pittman waiting her turn on the Giants bench, the 33-year-old. About to return to Suncorp Super Netball for the first time since 2020. We're looking forward to that, Maddie.
Of course, Thunderbirds was her previous side. She's probably got some fans in the stands that would be excited to see her back out on this court. She brings a wealth of experience and obviously I think calmness and composure. We saw Maddie Hay just throw a sly ball out the back there. She'll obviously come in hopefully and bring that calmness. Expect to see her, I reckon, injected in the first quarter at some point.
She was a co-captain of the Thunderbirds, a club champion here across 4 seasons. Now it's Potgieter working with Tippertuan. Gorgeous over the top finds Potgieter. And Lenise from close range drops another one.
I think Adelaide would like to go back to that short, sharp game that Georgie Hall just talked about. They want to keep it nice and low, have the multiple options. They were getting a little bit lost by going cross-court early in the first couple of minutes. So working that nice short, sharp pass, hitting the top of the circle and hopefully securing a nice, easy shot.
Here's Tippertuan on cue.
Give them confidence.
Amy Sliger finds Maddie Hay. Now Harton. You look through this lineup, you realise what important roles Harton and Hay and Brandley will play. Experience in a changed and young team, Maddie.
Yeah, they're missing 2 really crucial players, Jamie Lee Price and Amy Parmenter. When players are going to be missing due to these COVID protocols, you can't replace them, but you've got to try and find other ways to win. So these experienced heads trying to bring these youngsters into the game and making it feel like they can contribute is really, really important.
Solid start from Jo Harton. She's 4 of 5 shooting. Gorgeous needs an option, very close to 3 seconds, and that pressure sees her throw the ball away.
That Giants defensive pressure that Shani spoke about, that nice one-on-one, they're forcing them wide as well, trying to get that ball lifted. And as I said, just some uncharacteristic turnovers that we didn't see last week from the Thunderbirds creeping into their play early on.
Great work by Hannah Petty, the long reach, and now the Thunderbirds give it straight back. Petty again. Plenty of speed. Great zest for the ball. And now the Thunderbirds, 3-on-1 momentarily. Potgieter working with Maisie Nankerville. And Lenise Potgieter will level us up 5-on-5. Well, Hannah Petty, the captain, Maddie.
Yeah.
She's trying to lift her team.
Coming through super strong. Both teams are playing at a real fast pace. I'd love to see some leadership in both teams. Just calm it down, take a little bit of pace off the ball. Jo Harton trying to do that just through a couple of balks. Let's just settle it down, get back to the basics.
Hannah Petty looked good on the Harvey Norman replay as Sliger tried to find Leather Barrow and did, despite Jamira Sterling's best efforts. So Leather Barrow off target. Hay cleans up and goes back to Matisse. This one is good. Matisse Leatherbarrow, 20 years of age, out of the Baulkham Hills Association in northwestern Sydney. Just Suncorp Super Netball game number 6 for Matisse.
And it's her first start. She's going to take a lot of confidence from this. There's a lot of difference in whether you're coming off the bench and you're adding an impact to starting. So hopefully those nerves are starting to settle as Adelaide take that score back to a level.
Yeah, Matisse Leatherbarrow was a training partner and then became a replacement player when Kira Austin was injured last season. So 5 games for Matisse Leatherbarrow, starting today as COVID bites the Giants. But so far they're giving a decent account of themselves. I've mocked Maddie Hay, who's given it up. Garrett for Horges. She spots Potgieter, but McDonald, she was good last week against the Swifts and is here to pester the Thunderbirds as well.
Giants are setting that real, as I said, strong intention. They're on the body. They're trying to wear the T-Birds down a little bit, attacking that first ball. It'd be really good to see the Thunderbirds add in a few little balks, trying to get the shift the defenders off the body so you can get a nice, easy pass into the attackers.
Potgieter goes over the top of the ring for her first miss today. Lauren Moore. Good to see her back, making a belated club debut after missing last week. Now Harton for Sliger. On the circle edge, she goes back to Harton, the captain. Looking for Leatherbarrow and finding her. But Jamira Sterling That's why she's one of the best defenders in the world, and that's why it's going to be a long and testing day for Matisse Leatherbarrow.
She was a little bit quiet last week, so it's great to see her hands on the ball early. I'm sure she'll play a huge part in the T-Birds game today.
Here's Potgieter. Come back to Sterling in a moment. Tipper Dwan wants a better look.
Adelaide just being really patient with that ball. If they're not confident on that shot, they're going to work it through a little bit, get it a little bit closer. A little bit unsure on who touched it last there by the umpire.
Tanya Obst watching on, the coach of Adelaide, as we prepare to enter Suncorp super shot territory. Potgieter will look to take one more here and does. So last week Adelaide 5 of 9 when it came to Suncorp super shots. The Giants 3 of 11. Remembering they beat the New South Wales Swifts on 3 of 11 from Suncorp super shot territory.
It was going to be really exciting today to possibly see both teams have a bit of a shootout time. But with obviously Sophie Dwyer not in the Giants mix, it'll be interesting to see how their play goes within the last 5 minutes.
Suncorp super shot delivered there. Now Lenise Potgieter content to go up by 1 for the time being.
We didn't really see Adelaide inject Georgie Horgis until the second half with that double prong with Dwan and Horgis in that super shot. So it will be interesting to see how they play it out this week.
It's like a double team, but the penalty is called. And Jo Hart.
First super shot. She's so cool and calm. Sometimes I think she wishes it was 15 minutes of the super shot, Jo Hart.
She was a little bit rough from distance last week, but she's too good to be down for too long. As we have a timeout here, an HCF tactical timeout. Let's have a listen.
We have that option to run through that, okay? Remember now, we're trying to keep them in or out, keep them out of that wide zone. It's where they're going to land, all right? No penalties, all right? But your defence of the shot's been good, all right? Strong work on your rebounds. Good girl. When you had nearly got that ball, you were not looking at the ball. You were looking straight ahead, eyes on the ball, and we want to kick her up as much as possible so we can drag her further. Hey, you're settling in now, all right? It's okay. And don't forget, it doesn't have to be a whole lot of time. Give her a little nod. She won't do that. We've done that again, okay? And be very careful of little short parallel ones. They work if you can let the ball go straight away. They don't work if you hold on to the ball.
That's a good job.
Absolutely nothing cross court. Little short ones. If you've held the ball, it's too late. Go somewhere else, okay?
4 minutes left of this quarter. We're attacking the ball in defence, keeping away from their 2-point. And on our attack, we're dodging, we're getting in front, we're taking it strongly. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, jump!
The final save in that huddle from the captain, Jo Harton, but I know that Shani Norder was listening to the Thunderbirds intently, Shani.
Yeah, look, they were really calm and collected, just wanting to continue on playing their game. Tanya Obst had a really good chat to Lenise Potgieter, just around her body movement, not to get caught up in the fight with Branley. That's what Branley absolutely loves, but to come off the body and make her make a decision, which will then open a player up. Kathy Fellows just chatting to that defence end about the zone they're setting up to really stick together tightly to force that high ball, which Shamira will then come out and get an intercept for.
Well, April Branley, a player you mentioned there, only got through the 30 minutes last week. Tipper Dwan delivers the Suncorp super shot, but yeah, April Branley replaced by Gemma Donahue last week. Maddie, what did you make of what Julie Fitzgerald and the Giants had to say during the timeout?
She was definitely talking about their defence, saying either squish them in together or separate them further apart. She did talk about that disciplined play. She wants them to build that pressure, stay in play, create separation between the centre court and the goalers by trying to pressing them a little bit further apart. So she wants a nice solid defensive pressure to try and ripple that all the way down into the attack end as well.
Jo Harton misses her first super shot attempt of the game. Successful with her first 2. Dwan looking for Potgieter, but McDonald.
Matilda McDonald just needs to have a little bit more footwork. She is getting caught on that body. She's getting some really good tips, but needs to move those feet rather than just lunging towards the ball.
Potgieter Looks at the toes and says, I'll take 2. Unsuccessfully, though. A miss from Lenise Potgieter from super shot territory. Now Moore. Brantley. Sliger was deflected by Sterling, taken by Maisie Nankerville, but the Thunderbirds are penalised. Leatherbarrow for 2. There's a confidence boost. Matisse Leatherbarrow delivers the Suncorp super shot.
It was interesting to see Jo Harton leave that and give her an opportunity at it, but she obviously backed her in, gave her all the confidence and said, go for it. I'm here for the rebound. I think we've found where their star power shooting's going to come from today as well.
Maisie Nankerville goes to her star shooter, the South African, Lenise Potgieter. 82 caps for the Proteas. And in her 3rd season as a Thunderbird, after starting in Australia with the Firebirds. Here's Hay, finding Harton. Does she go back to Leatherbarrow here?
That connection between Hay and Harton is super important down this attack end. The other two are obviously a little bit new. They want to try and bring them into the game and build that confidence, but Hay finding Harton, Harton finding Hay, that's definitely where the confidence is going to come from.
Harton delivers. We've got an all-Jamaican defensive lineup there for the Thunderbirds. Latanya Wilson taking the court to partner Shamira Sterling. Here is Wilson.
Tipper Dwan's been a little bit quiet in this first quarter. Hopefully we'll see her build a little bit more. Not only creating that play, but she does so much work obviously in the circle and shooting, but want to see her do a little bit more work out the front with Horges to create a little bit more play.
Final minute of the opening quarter, and the Giants will be taking confidence from this. They're ahead by 1. Wouldn't they love to take a lead? And again, Leatherbarrow, back-to-back super shots. They're out by 2, the Giants.
And from most goalers, we see that those outside shots at the two-pointer are a lot harder. So, yeah, it's interesting to see her have so much confidence on the side.
McDonald finds more. Little deflection on the way, but it's all good for the Giants. Harton to Leatherbarrow again. Is she about to go 3 in a row? Shamira Sterling says no, as quarter time sounds in the background. It's a good first quarter for the Giants, trying to go 2-0, and they're on track. And the Thunderbirds improve against the Giants in this second period. Amy Sligo with a centre pass, finding Maddie Hay. April Brantley involved as well. Adelaide called for the penalty. It was Georgie Horges. Hay spots Sligo. Leatherbarrow grew in confidence during that opening quarter, the 20-year-old.
No changes here for both teams out of the break. We're still staying with those teams.
Jo Harton opens the scoring in the second quarter. 6 of 7 now, Jo, including 2 of 3 super shot attempts. Potgieter gets away from McDonald, and Lenise Potgieter has it roll over the rim and through.
That was really smart there by Dwan, staying a little bit wide, leaving that one-on-one for Potgieter and McDonald in the circle. Good pick up there by Leatherbarrow, but way past there to Sligo. It's just a little bit of lack of connection in that Giants attack end. Obviously, they haven't played a lot together at this level. Yes, we saw some of these combinations at Team Girls Cup, but it is a different intensity. It's a different game.
Which is understandable given the week they've had. Sophie Dwyer, Jamie Lee Price, Amy Parmenter ruled out. Another 3 training players put in isolation as well. And then you have the likes of Lauren Moore and Amy Sligo joining the squad late. That's why they twice asked for the game to be postponed, only to be denied. But here's Potgieter scoring again for Adelaide.
Great patience by the Thunderbirds then. They're obviously just taking that little bit of heat off the ball. See the ball, give it, have multiple options, have that confidence in each other. We're starting to see the T-Birds of round 1 come out early in this second quarter.
Tipper Dwan scores her 4th goal of the game.
Thunderbirds will want to be a little bit tighter here. Building that pressure is super important. Unfortunately, that missed goal there.
Well, Latanya Wilson did enough, didn't she? Just jumping up and flashing through the eye line of Leatherbarrow. And here is Wilson. The Thunderbirds and the Giants met 3 times pre-season, and the Thunderbirds won them all, twice in orange. And then a thriller in the Team Girls Cup, 38-37. Here's Tipatuan. The handoff for Potgieter. And she's good again, Lenise. The energy and the urgency going up here by the Thunderbirds. Shani Norda, what are you seeing early on in the second quarter?
They're just using the court so much better. I think in the first quarter, Giants did a really good job of squeezing them in, but they've kind of gone, hang on a minute, I don't have to be stuck in the middle of the court. And they're really opening up, using the space and not rushing. What an amazing intercept there from Sterling. And so as we look at them moving down the court,
Heavy collision.
Another big, heavy collision. They're just using the width of the court a lot better.
Is it just me, or do you get particularly excited when we see those bodies crashing into each other, Shani?
I'm a bit of a lover for a good contest in the netball.
And this is a good contest. The Thunderbirds by 2. As Tipatuan beats McDonald to the ball.
They're being really smart, the Adelaide Thunderbirds. As I said, they're just not happy with the shot. They're prepared to work it back out, work the ball around, get a better look at it. Just taking that patience into their play again.
The fans haven't missed the Thunderbirds' first up win this season. They're out in number. To applaud the pink team, trying to go 2-0 for the first time in Suncorp Super Netball history.
We haven't seen a lot of long balls go into Potgieter just yet, so you see that nice one go in. They're starting to isolate her in the circle, more of a one-on-one contest rather than having Brownlee coming through the back, having a bit of a dip at that ball. So their play, creating space, as Shani said, they're using the entire court and actually playing each other back into the game rather than playing as individuals, playing as a really cohesive unit.
They need a score here, the Giants. Joe Harton, just a steady. Their first quarter was most encouraging. Matisse Leatherbarrow this time beats Wilson, just what the visitors wanted.
Giants just need to stay close. They've definitely got that score power within the Power 5 play. So just stay close within this contest. Keep chipping over at the scoreboard. And hopefully, when time comes, they can shine through with those 2-pointers.
So the Thunderbirds give it away. And April Brandley. It's a month for Brandley to shine as McDonald goes back to Moore.
Giants struggling to get through transition here. Nice drive there from Moore. Open up this other side, yes. They're getting a little bit clustered here on this transverse line. Really good pressure here by the T-Birds. Just keep taking a drive, draw someone, create space for someone else to lead into.
Yeah, Hannah Petty was key to that pressure. As Harton goes to Sliger. And she'll give it to Harton. Leatherbarrow guarded by the Jamaicans, so across court to Hay, and now her ball meant for Leatherbarrow, beats them all over the sideline. Julie, it's a frustrating job, isn't it?
It is frustrating because that was actually Hay's only real option, and Sligo was sitting off the circle. She needed to be on the circle, top, creating a nice little triangle angle to, nearly more. She's having a crack in defence. But yeah, in attack, I'd love to see Giants start to use the middle channel a little bit more rather than just the sides.
Potgieter for the Thunderbirds. I mentioned that they'd beaten the Giants in all 3 pre-season meetings, but last season it was the Giants winning both regular season encounters. 57-41 in Sydney, 66-52 here. So a clean sweep for the Giants against the T-Birds last year. Joe Harton.
We've also seen Taylor Williams come onto the centre here, some fresh legs for the T-Birds. She usually comes on for a little cameo appearance.
Brandley grabs the rebound, goes to Sliger. Taylor Williams, last year's South Australian Premier League Team of the Year member.
This is where the disconnect is coming in from the Giants.
And there's Williams straight hard into Joe Harton, who didn't like that.
Yeah, so Giants, they're bringing it down to halfway, but then they're really struggling to connect with this attack end. There's always one option, or it's all on the same timing. A little bit of staggered leads, one going, the next one filling. Maybe even some balks in there would be really good. I tell you who's good at that, Matt? Chelsea Pittman. I'd love to see her on court.
I wonder when we get to see Chelsea Pittman again back in Suncorp Super Netball. Such a career already. The West Coast Fever training partner who's been lent to the Giants for today, given their COVID struggles. Here's Joe Harton. Scoring again, Joe.
Back-to-back goals for the Giants would be really good. I think it's just been the score and then they've turned it over. So consolidating this centre pass, hopefully is exactly what they need to go on a bit of a momentum run.
Let's have a look at the Nissan net points, and Shamira Sterling leading all comers by a margin as well. Just showing us the work she's doing defensively, but we shouldn't be surprised.
That's a better drive from Sligo, hitting the top of the circle. Her and Hayes sitting quite off and wide. They really need to go, create something for someone else, because that's where these turnovers are coming from.
And again, the hands over pressure there from our Nissan net points leader, Shamira Sterling, put Joe Harton off enough. And Harton, her shooting numbers still good, 10 of 13. As Potgieter at the other end. Delivers for the Thunderbirds.
Another timeout here called by the Giants. See Harton discussing with Sligo a lot. We need to give that go. She was doing this in the first timeout break as well in the first quarter, giving them lots of direct feedback. This is what we need.
Play with you, almost then double play it with the person. So if it's like with Taylor, get it down the same side, because when we're opening it up, Lauren Moore's looking for that one cross. So is it you who can also maybe present down the line as well? So if it's you, we don't want to be going there. And if we do, we square it up a little bit rather than on that diagonal. Yeah, does that make sense? Because Lauren's just coming off and looking at that, okay? Or it's even, or it could even be where Hannah is, like somewhere in here. Yeah? Great moving, all right, absolutely. And there's some really good movement. Where's Tipper through there? Some great movement through there, and then that double.
Tanya Obst leading the Thunderbirds since 2019. We wondered whether it might be a pink procession here this afternoon, given the Giant struggles, but they're here to fight. Thunderbirds out by 3. And Tanya Obst hoping to guide the Thunderbirds to the finals in Suncorp Super Netball for the first time, Maddie.
Yeah, she talked about obviously their transition out of defence. When they do get that turnover ball, she wants to have an option down the line. So down that sideline, they're starting to cross channels, and that's where Lauren Moore's starting to come out and have a bit of a ping at it.
They've been 8th twice and 7th for the last 3 seasons, the Thunderbirds. Giants much better, into a couple of grand finals, yet to win the title, though, as Shani was listening in to Julie Fitzgerald. Shani?
Yes, and the Giants got the "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed" chat from Julie. So she just said that they're better than that in regards to the balls that are going out of court. They need to stay tighter. Great intercept there from Lozzie Moore. But yeah, they just need to be patient with the ball, but also continue to penetrate their drives up and not be flat, because that's when the Thunderbirds can come through and get those intercepts.
Lauren Moore, a Swift for the last 5 years now, a Giant, the 24-year-old, with a key play here to win possession for the Giants.
That's a really good point, obviously, that Julie mentioned and Shani was just discussing, is they are getting on the same line. They're all like right next to each other. You want to penetrate down the court and then come back up. You've got to create some space for you to drive into rather than just standing there.
We were just short of super shot territory, but Harton let loose anyway. On the Harvey Norman replay, have a look at Lauren Moore. It's one of the reasons why Julie Fitzgerald was so good to get hold of her at Harton. Now in super shot time, lands a big 2.
A little bit controversial there. She had 2 attempts at it.
Yes.
Let the time tick over so she could make it a 2-pointer rather than a 1.
Sligo So what do you reckon, Matty? If the penalty's called before the 5-minute mark, do you stick with the 1-point goal, or are we getting into controversial territory?
Nah, well, she landed in the 2 points, so it's absolutely her choice.
Fair enough, Sliger for Leatherbarrow, trying to go again for 2 and getting it. Matisse Leatherbarrow.
This is exactly what I mentioned earlier. Giants just need to stay in the contest. They've got this scoring power in the 2 point. You can always catch up the deficit, but just keep ticking away, taking care of the possession when they're in control.
The Thunderbirds have a challenge here, despite all the media we've heard this week. It's the Giants by 1, 4 minutes left in the half. Here's Tipperdoin. Off target, but kept in brilliantly by Potgieter. Deep over the goal line. And they'll give it up though.
A causing contact, quite interesting. She's just moving her body position around. Tipperdoin hasn't been maybe as dominant on the scoreboard as we saw her last week, struggling to get into that 2 point shot. They know that she's the dominant shooter in this time, so they're obviously doubling back on her. Much better transition there from the Giants, bringing it from defence to attack. You want to be disciplined. You don't want to give Jo Harton this option in the 2 point shot, though.
Instead, she dumps it down low for Leatherbarrow. And they're out by 2. Opting for the high percentage shots just before half-time.
And we just see behind play there, Georgie Horgis being taken out of wing attack, straight back into the goal shooter position. We've got that 2-prong attack in the T-Birds. They're wanting to maybe bring in a bit of a deficit here.
Leatherbarrow again. It was the Giants winning the first quarter, 15-13. Now they lead the second as well. Horgis through El McDonald, and again it goes wrong for the Thunderbirds.
What the umpire's seeing is the reaction there. I think it's quite a good contest, but obviously Brownlee stepping off that body, kind of showing that she's been hit, and that's what he's reacting to, unfortunately, for the Thunderbirds here.
2 times in as many possessions, the Thunderbirds turn it over. Now Sliger for Harton. You love riding the changes of momentum through a netball match, and right now the Giants have some. Harton could have really built on it there, but the miss allows the Thunderbirds to bring it up the court. McDonald working with Dwan. McDonald called out of it, and Tipperdoin delivers the Suncorp super shot.
Really smart. She pulled the penalty and she was like, you know what, I'm gonna shoot straight away before a hand comes over my shot. Hopefully that's the confidence she needs to slot a few more ones before the halftime break.
Harton across court for Hay. Now Sterling tries to deny Harton unsuccessfully. So Matisse Leatherbarrow has shown us her shooting skill this afternoon, leaving that one short.
You know what, I'm really loving the fact that Harton's like, yep, take that shot. Backing her in, she's got to have a go. She's got a really strong rebounder in there as Harton.
Well, Matisse had made her first 3 super shots. That was the first miss at the 2-goaler. No wonder they were allowing her to continue shooting the 2. Horgis. Dwan, the bounce pass here is taken by McDonald.
Horgis yet to put up a shot. It's quite interesting from going from a mid-court position to the shooting position. It'll be interesting to see when she takes it and how she takes it. She's in there to score 2-pointers, but is it too far straight away to put up a long shot?
Well, Horgis gave up the 2 and then they gave up the 1 with a miss. April Brownlee for the Giants, called by Moore. Now Harton in the goal third, and it's a turnover. Hannah Petty. Tipperdoin and Horgis sitting it up for Dwan again, who'll get a good look here. This is a good game to wrap up round 2. You wouldn't know it looking at Julie Fitzgerald, but smiles aren't part of her repertoire.
No, I think she was, as she even mentioned in our chat, she was a little bit stressed at what was going to unfold, but she should be really proud. I think that little rocket she gave them in their timeout has come up trumps for them.
I enjoyed the chat pre-game. She looked very relaxed given the week she's had. Leatherbarrow again. Maybe this will make the coach smile. Instead, there's a miss as we arrive at half-time, and we are locked together. The underdogs, the Giants, they're fighting hard, undermanned and rearranged. It's 25 apiece after the first 2 quarters.
And Georgie Hortis going back into that goal attack. We obviously saw her at wing attack. Is she going to stay there for the rest of the game and just have a bit of more continuity in that attack end?
I'll let you know.
Tanya, one more quick one. Your defender, Shamira Sterling, leading the Nissan net points for all players. Her battle with Matisse Leatherbarrow. Are you enjoying watching that?
Yeah, she's been pretty good. Her athleticism out there's been fantastic.
Good on you, Tanya. Thank you so much. All the best for the rest of the game.
Thank you.
It's fantastic to have the coaches join us here live in play on Fox Netball. It's one of the features we are bringing you this season. As the first goal goes to the Giants, Joe Harton sending the visitors back in front. And now the Thunderbirds get their chance through Georgie Hortis.
We've obviously seen those changes a little bit with the Thunderbirds, but Giants still staying with that starting 7 that they started the game with.
Adelaide didn't have their first win last season until round 6. They are trying to go 2-0 by stopping Sliger and Harton in possession now. Joe Harton from outside, it's a long bomb for 1.
She's so confident. When she turns and shoots, it must instill such confidence within the players around her to just deliver the ball and know that she'll get the job done when the ball's in her hands.
So the first 2 goals in the third coming from Joe Harton. Horges tries to stop that, leaves her shot short. Now a scramble for the ball. And Adelaide like the ruling. I like the crowd the Thunderbirds are drawing so early in the season, Maddie.
Yeah, and even their bench, you can see their bench standing up, getting right into it. I think they want to create a little bit more energy in this arena right now. Help lift the Thunderbirds to go to another level so that they can play with that really short, sharp intensity and pace. Yes, Elle McDonald, attack that ball.
She gets the deflection
Really
and then
strong.
the gain. And now Horges.
Adelaide last week were playing with just like this really good spark. They've been a little bit lackluster, I would think, in the first half. So expect the crowd to come into it to give them that little bit of oomph that they need.
Mankabell for Horges and Georgie Horges. She was the player of the match last week against the Collingwood Magpies. Will she emerge similar in this second half? Here's the captain, Hannah Petty. In her 6th season with the T-Birds. And they do well there to get the shot here. Adelaide through Lenise Potgieter.
It was really good defence by the Giants. They were attacking that first ball, put a little bit of hesitancy in Hannah Penny. She was like, oh, who do I give it to? And Horges being like, give it. So I think just see it, give it, back yourself in and back your teammates in.
Here's Maddie Hay working with Harton. Sliger there as well, and Harton keeps the goals coming for the Giants.
Sliger getting a lot more depth in attack already in this quarter. She was getting a little bit caught on that transverse line. Nice to see her get some more depth. Really strong baseline drive by Potgieter. They need to get that movement happening.
Potgieter, 82 caps for South Africa at one end of the floor. Joe Harton, 110 caps for England at the other. COVID cost her the Quad Series role with England, but she's looking to the Com Games. As are many players across Suncorp Super Netball. It was the timing of the Com Games that makes Netball Australia so determined to play every game as scheduled this season.
Unlucky there for Sterling. Got a great rebound, but a stepping call.
Sliger to Harton, but the Thunderbirds are penalised. Maddie Garrett. And now Leatherbarrow, despite the efforts of Sterling. So neither team able to get away, Maddie.
Well, it's actually quite interesting, and I'm sure the watchers at home are seeing this as well. There's umpiring differences at each end. Definitely down Nathan's side, we're seeing a little bit more contacts being called, a little bit more free flow down this other end as well.
Shani, you seeing Potgieter playing an important role in this one?
Yeah, look, she's just very underrated as a shooter. Like, she has played a lot of test games for South Africa, but watch her movement as this ball comes down. The way that she moves her body and she protects the space that the ball goes into makes it very, very hard to defend. She's so strong, she's got good vision, and she's really helping opening up that attack. Not the best pass, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, Tilly McDonald applying the pressure to Potgieter there.
It's that cross-court pass. It's a coach killer. I don't know how many times the coaches are like, work it short, go through the channels rather than going from sideline to sideline. But sometimes when the defence is so strong, they're forcing you into those positions so that they can obviously pick up those intercepts. And you could just see their Giants forcing wide, tapping up, coming into play was Amy Schleiger.
Well, Maddie Brown is one of the world's great mid-quarters during your day. Look at Hannah Petty. She's nothing she can't do. Captain, floor cleaner. You can't tell me that you listen to the coach all the time. I'm sure you threw some wild cross-court passes.
Of course I did. Of course I did. Shani loved to eat them up, Shani.
I did. I was like, Maddie, please throw them. But I think you made a really good point in the second quarter, Mads, around I'm just not seeing the triangles, the wing attack and the centres on the top and the side of the circle. At the moment, they're sitting really wide, which means the defenders are pushing them there. But you have to be able to cut in to make that pass easier.
Sterling to Horges, now McDonald. And the Thunderbirds find their rhythm here. Are they in sync? There's Nankerville. Looks to Potgieter. Creating the space, scoring the goal. And Tanya Opp says more of that, please.
I'm really loving Al McDonald in wing attack right now. She's being really steady. She's offering multiple options towards the ball. Good hands over pressure by Branley.
So the Giants win possession, down by 3, but give it away straight away. Garrett just in time for Petty, now Nankerville.
Really good give and go. We saw that so much last week by the Thunderbirds. We haven't seen it as much today, though.
And Horges scores, so the goal's starting to flow for the Thunderbirds. Out by 4. Shani, they're both trying to go 2-0.
They are, and I was just thinking, this is a real finals match, and it just means every win means so much in this competition. There's not that many games, and every single win, as I said, makes the difference. And you can tell how much both of these teams want it, how much the Thunderbirds want it for the very first time, but Giants also don't want to let it go.
Yeah, 14 rounds, 1 week of finals, then the grand final in what is a big year for netball. Potgieter. The ball slipped in her hand, left the shot significantly short. Easy pickings for the Giants. And they cut a break, the visiting team. Here's Moore. A bounce pass for Branley. Moore getting it back. And Harton spots Schleiger.
Just trying, Harton is trying to create some things with some balks and stuff like that, but the T-Birds are just staying nice and tight one-on-one. A little bit more movement from the Giants centre court would be ideal, just to help her get into the circle a little bit quicker and do exactly that. Get the score on the board.
We're 2 minutes from the Suncorp super shot, but Joe Harton uses that area to score. This is net points. Let's have a look at the leaders. And Amy Schleiger, she'll be happy with that. First week back after her COVID isolation, leading Sterling and Petting, a couple of Thunderbirds there. This week it's Amy's sister Nats in isolation. They'll eventually get a full contingent back. And wouldn't it be a bonus if they can come from behind here, down by 2. Julie Fitzgerald watching on, willing her team to firstly beat the Swifts, now the Thunderbirds.
Both teams having really close contests last week. They will have probably learnt a lot about when you're in front, when you're behind, how you can get that momentum shift back, and how to stay cool and calm and composed, especially in those dying few minutes.
That's a good point, Maddie, is Potgieter couldn't get a clean pass, but Adelaide hold the ball, and Horges gets another go. Yeah, the Giants last week winning 57-55 against the Swifts, and Adelaide's 54-50 against Collingwood. Nankivell to Horges.
Al McDonald trying to create that triangle to the top, but unfortunately the sweep from Horges stopping that ball. Good hands.
April Branley just signalling the umpire, acknowledging the call. Thank you. We need all the help we can get.
Yes. Well, the worst thing, Matt, is when you think that you're setting up the penalty and then they can reverse the call if you're not in play. So you want to tune into where the umpire wants the penalty set. Make sure you set it correctly. But yeah, it's nothing worse than having the call reversed when you've worked so hard to get it.
We saw it last week and the frustration on the players when that call happened. So the power 5 minutes where the Suncorp super shot like this is worth 2. Not like that though. Harton finding the rim, and now Nankivell sends it up court.
Giants getting a little bit frustrated with the umpire calls, and yes, understandably there are some little slide ones going, but at the end of the day you've got to move on. The ball can get down the other end so quickly, and the last thing you want is to get frustrated and that come into your play.
And the last thing you want is to leave Lenise Potgieter home alone, as was the case there. So the Thunderbirds by 4.
I
after they went to the half at 25 all, Maddie.
I was just about to say, I think we're just about to head into the Giants huddle, but I expect to see Pittman start to come onto court here. They need her experience to calm things down and really get that composure back in there.
Get them on your backs and leave them on your backs, all right? Do not let them keep coming forward to the ball, and then we're content to put arms up. Get them on the back, leave them on your back, all right? Nice and steady with your feet. Obviously, this is very foreign to you, so nice and steady with them, okay? And they could easily swap here, so they bring in their 2 2-pointers. And Edmund, you did a great job on the last one, so keep it up, all right? Work hard in there, all right? Be ready for everything. Be dominant on your lead. Don't just stand and hope the ball comes. You create an opportunity for the ball to come, all right?
All right, here we go.
Let's go. This is where we're right. Let's go. In defense, you got it.
We build here. Yeah, so it's the back end of the quarter, but we're still building. We're blocking them for the 2s, and for us, we're being sensible. We just want to keep possession, get it into a nice shot, whatever that looks like. Work for each other here. It's hard work, but we're going for each other. Here we go. Giants on 3! 1, 2, 3, Giants! Let's go.
Tanya Obb's just asking her team just to be really patient with the ball, to be a lot smarter, and just to, really push through in the last part of this quarter.
Thank you, Shani. Chelsea Pittman onto the floor for Julie Fitzgerald, and now in possession. From the Queensland Firebirds to the West Coast Fever, the Central Pulse, the Adelaide Thunderbirds, her opposition today, and now a training partner with the Fever, released to help bolster numbers at the COVID-hit Giants. Welcome back to Suncorp Super Netball, Chelsea Pittman.
Look, I'm excited to see the connection she has, obviously, with Harton from that England netball team. They should know each other really well, but just her composure when she's got the ball in the hand to work it around rather than throwing it in and getting a little bit messy as the Giants were.
Good pass for Lenise Potgieter to score. Yeah, Chelsea Pittman, an Australian diamond in 2011-12, and also an England rose since 2017, representing a couple of countries. And her aim, she's on record as saying that it is the Com Games, helping Dan Ryan at the Fever. But today, part of Julie Fitzgerald's Giants. Potgieter again, breaking free of the defence and scoring.
With Pittman coming on to wing attack, we also see Hay move through to the centre, and Sliger's gone to that wing defence position. Moore having a little bit of a time off. Wonder whether that is part of her management from coming back from COVID.
Leatherborough again aiming for the Suncorp super shot, missing her mark, and they hurt with the Thunderbirds leading now 37-31. Petty for Nankivell. Garrett finds Horges, and it's Branley. No, Sliger's the player penalised off the ball. It's poor from the Giants.
An interesting feed there from Al McDonald, obviously, for the T-Birds. She had 2 options wide and she went for the one that was contested. They're the times where the clutch moments, especially for the T-Birds, that you get a settler or you get another 2-point on the board, and you've really started to extend that lead and put the pressure on the Giants.
Call from the T-Birds, not the Giants. Here are the Giants trying to be very good, trying to work their way back into the game. Pittman finding Maddie Hay. Leatherbarrow with work to do against Shamira Sterling. It is always hard work against Shamira.
It's a feat I just wouldn't be putting in against Sterling. It's her bread and butter. You want to keep that ball short. Even Julie Fitzgerald talked about when you get her on her back, keep her on your back, but you've got to stay front and demand that ball, yet they're still putting it up in the air.
Now Horges down to McDonald. The last few goals have come seemingly easily for the Thunderbirds. Here's Potgieter again. And why don't we go to our expert defender, Shani Norda. What's breaking down for the Giants in defence?
At the moment, look, Tanya Obbs, as the Thunderbirds coach, has done a really great job with her coaching and her rotations. You can see the fatigue start to creep in with the Giants. But what the attacking are doing, they're drawing the defenders apart so that they can't work together. But when you watch Potgieter, which is so hard to defend against, you need to run in line with her body. Usually you can set up on a tee and have a bit of a jump at that high ball, but because she protects it so well, you can't defend her the same as you defend everyone else. So you need to run on the same line as her body to get that ball where it's going to land at the back of her hand if she's going for that high ball. And if she doesn't get it, then she'll pop forward, goes straight over the top. She just has great timing.
Well done, Shani. Denise Potgieter and the home team now out by 8. They're winning the quarter 15-7. After the first period went to the Giants by 2, the second to the Thunderbirds by 2. This has been moving time, and the Thunderbirds are doing that. Harton from long range. The Giants need a bit more of that, Maddie.
Yes, I mean, they've been working to try and get it into that 2-point trend. They'd had some attempts, obviously, unfortunately missed them, but they need to continue to just tick it over. They have got that score power, so let's see it.
A huge huddle there from the Giants. They're pumped, they're putting everything out there. We've got Friketic going on in goal attack, so the second training partner's out there. They're leaving no stone unturned, but it's going to be tough for them to beat the Thunderbirds.
Thank you, Shani. On the flip side, I was listening into the Thunderbirds huddle. They were obviously really impressed with their defensive effort, a 15-9 quarter. They want to continue to build that pressure in an attack, just utilise each other's strengths and take care of the ball. Make sure they're moving it nice and quickly.
Shani and Maddie delivering the 3-quarter time reports, brought to you by Origin Energy. Great to have you with us on Fox Netball, the final game in round 2 of Suncorp Super Netball. And it's the Thunderbirds looking to pull away. Georgie Horges wearing a big smile. 41-34. We were level at halftime. It was the Giants leading at quarter time, and there is still time for the visiting team, the Sydney-siders, to work their way back into the game. Good to see Chelsea Pittman out there as a replacement player today for the Giants. Here's Maddie Hay. Friketic is touched on by Shani. Out there for court time. Big moment for Ange Friketic, the 23-year-old. Out of the Liverpool Netball Association.
And really smart play there by Shamira Sterling. She started to get off. She lost where Joe Harton was, so she attacked the pass rather than obviously having the body contact of the shooter on her.
Branley couldn't get a clean grab at the ball, so the throw-in comes from Nankerville. Now Sligo penalised. McTunnell can't deny Potgieter. They've gone back-to-back here, the Thunderbirds.
A really strong start to that fourth quarter. They spoke about that in their huddle. They saw what was working. Let's continue to do that, but also work on each other's strengths. Lenice is really strong on that hold. Let's lift it, build that confidence.
Hodges finds Potgieter. The pass over the top, and Lanise delivers another one. So 3-zip to start the fourth quarter. Pittman for Harton, and her pass knocked away by Nankerville.
I always find it quite interesting when Jo Harden is at goal attack. She's very agile out the front. She's obviously creating the space. When she comes to cold shooters, she sometimes has to get a bit more on the hold or be used as a bit more of a dummy. So interesting to see how she changes her positioning and continues to obviously give to that attack end without cutting other players out of the game as well.
We'll watch that as Harton delivers a much-needed goal for the Giants. Potgieter in behind McDonald again. And Lanise Potgieter, 26 of 30 today. Harton back for Pittman. And the England veterans working together here.
Once again, like we said in that second quarter, if Giants can just stay within the mix and stay chipping away at that scoreboard, when it gets to that 2-point shot, expect them to start trying to hit them from anywhere to keep themselves in that game.
So 43-34, Maddie. Where do the Giants need to be as we hit those final 5 minutes in your mind to give themselves a chance?
I would think maybe at least 6.
Okay.
6 is probably a comfortable margin that they can bring back.
Hodges.
But we also know the T-Birds have a really strong shooting lineup in that time as well. I'd just love to see the 2-point shot go from end to end to end. Let's see a shootout.
Coming up shortly is a beautiful pass. Maisie Nankerville finds Georgie Hodges, who finds the net. That's the T-Birds at their best.
And it all started with Sterling coming out on that ball. Great intercept. It just seems like T-Birds have just found this new level.
Sliger for the Giants. Now Brandley. Pittman, middle third for Keddick. Called by Chelsea Pittman as Hannah Petty hits
Seal
the floor
dives.
hard in the background for Keddick. Ange for Keddick scores for the Giants. Shani Norder, over to you.
This is just the epitome of a really well-fought game as we bring out the favourite mop. Don't we love it? But really great work from the Thunderbirds just to really wear the Giants down. Know that it's been a little bit messy. There's been contacts, there's been balls out of court, but they're starting to reap the rewards for their hard work. So really well done by the Thunderbirds.
Ange for Keddick, Charlie Feidler and Erin O'Brien all called into the game day team by Julie Fitzgerald with so much disruption this week. Hay finds for Keddick again. Other side of the circle this time, and it comes back. She almost gets her own rebound, but Jamira Sterling wins that battle. And now the T-Birds drive quickly. Nankerville for Potgieter. She wants a better look. Calls on Elle McDonald to help. Hodges in a similar position. Now Nankerville. Back to Georgie. And Hodges goes bang.
She knows her range, she knows where she's comfortable, and she knows where she can have that high percentage shot.
The Thunderbirds by double digits now, 47-37. And you heard Maddie Brown a moment ago. The Giants need to be, she believes, around the 6-point deficit mark when we enter the Power 5 to be any chance. So there's work to do for the Giants to stay in the contest here. A few stops will help. There's a miss by Adelaide. Tilly McDonald working with Sliger. Brandley very close to the sideline as a result. Throws the long ball for Pittman. Back to Chelsea. Hart, now Hay. And Joe just on the move there, so had to shoot before she came up with the violation, and now she's frustrated, Joe Hart.
Well, she did take the shot. I mean, she was obviously trying to get that contact. She got it, but she flippantly kind of just put it up in the air where she probably should have just stayed composed. She obviously had to go at the umpire. Sometimes that can go against you. It'll be interesting to see what happens this time when they're in play.
Just one of the talking points perhaps on pivot coming up straight after we're done here. Hannah and the team will take us through round 2. Great way to wrap up your weekend, a great way to wrap up your round of netball.
We also see Matilda Carrot come into play. Shamira Sterling still on court at goalkeeper, but we've had Wilson come off that wing defence, that goal defence position, sorry.
Garrett was meant to receive the pass from Petty. Instead, there's penalty and Horges to Potgieter. Horges thought she was going to shoot. Instead, she dumps it off Lenise Potgieter. And another one on the tally.
I was going to say, Tanya Obbs did talk about that too, obviously, attack end, even in the first quarter. Like, we just want to make sure we get those high percentage shots, keep ticking away at the scoreboard, put the pressure on Giants. That's exactly what they're doing. They don't want it to be a shootout in that final Power 5. They want to make sure they've got enough deficit that they can obviously slot some 2 points, but know that they've got the game nice in the bag before we even get into that pressure situation.
And who else but Lenise Potgieter to raise the half century for the Thunderbirds. Closing in on back-to-back wins to start their 2022 Suncorp Super Netball campaign. Harton. Just keeping the visitors alive, but they need to lift at the defensive end.
Look, I think, you know, Giants have done so well all game to stay so close. This is probably the difference between your 10 contracted players and some of your training partners getting a go. It's just that, you know, it isn't level up, and it's until you actually get out there and have to do it and perform it, do you understand what it takes to perform at this level consistently week in, week out.
And it's not just elevating the training players, it's bringing in the replacement player, Chelsea Pittman, and it's then changing positions within the players who would normally take to the court, but not where they are accustomed to. So there's a lot going on for the Giants, and excuses perhaps, but not that Julie Fitzgerald was using any of them pre-centre pass. There she is watching on intently. Harton.
I think she's trying to get her eye in a little bit earlier before we come into that Power 5. We're only 40 seconds away.
Let's follow the Thunderbirds here before we hear from Shani Norton again. Firstly, Mankaville to Potgieter. And Thunderbirds called for the infringement, Shani.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Thunderbirds really need to switch on here. What's going to be the difference for them this year is to be able to play a full 60 minutes. They can't just switch off because they've got a fair few goals on the Giants now. Don't judge me, I'm not good at math. But they need to be able to push on, to stick to their game plan, to build their fitness, because there are teams that are going to be able to run with them for longer, and that's when they need to be able to step up, like now. So I don't want to see any more balls out of court. I want to see it short, sharp, and making the most of this last 5 minutes.
It was 13, it's back to 12. My calculator's working well, Shani. I was in the same maths class as you, paying
Where's
no
my
attention.
calculator?
Okay, so it's 12 with the Power 5 underway now. And the power play delivered by Georgie Horges, not the team trailing.
Exciting to obviously see Tipper Dwan come on as well to that goal shooting position. They're going to want to try not only win this game, but if they can, draw out a little bit in percentage as well with a nice, solid win.
Harton for 2, and she'll get a do-over. Let's have a look how this goes and then go back to Shani. That they need more of that from Joe Harton. But when it comes to the way that the Giants have been hit by COVID isolation protocols, I know that you're an advocate for playing games when the teams are at full strength down the track midweek. We are going to see some midweek rounds, so why not play it a Tuesday, Wednesday without impeding on the Commonwealth Games preparation time? Is that where you sit?
Absolutely. I really think that it was poor form to not reschedule the game today. For my own personal opinion, if you can't have your best 7 out there, like one player in netball really makes a difference because there's only 7 out on the court. It's not footy with 21. Look at the Vixens. Last year, they were missing Liz Watson, Caitlin Thwaites and Tegan Phillip, and they went from being premiership winners to wooden spooners. That's how much of a difference 3 players make. So, you know, they knew that there was going to be COVID issues this year. I don't know whether it was starting the season earlier, but so these girls are now full-time, so you have the flexibility to be able to play midweek games. They hit the criteria. I believe the game should have been rescheduled.
Yeah, the Giants have been brave, but barring a miracle, they're going to be beaten. Maddie Brown, where do you sit on all of that?
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think obviously we want to see the best out there competing against the best, but the flip side is it gives some of these youngsters great opportunity. We want to build Australian netball up with obviously having a competition like this. We bring imports in, so to see some of the up-and-coming superstars that are hopefully going to be diamonds one day, get a bit of a taste of it, that's the flip side and the positive of it.
And surely the Giants can take some positives out of this by giving court time to young players who might not have otherwise got it, but also coming together as a group and saying, well, we lost a game perhaps we mightn't have lost otherwise. Let's really come together now and salvage something out of these COVID dramas for the next 6, 8, 10 weeks.
And they aren't going to be the only team. Every team's probably going to have to cope with this throughout the remainder of the season. It's going to be, as we mentioned, how much depth do you have? How can you win when your backs are really up against the wall?
Well, the team in front, let's applaud the Thunderbirds, out by 13, and Shamira Sterling grabbing the rebounds. It's the 25th anniversary of the pretty in pink Adelaide Thunderbirds. And what a way to start your celebratory year with 2 straight victories. Kedik called for the contact, so Maddie Garrett.
I've been really impressed with Al McDonald coming on into this Thunderbirds lineup. A little sway pass there by Maisie Nankivell, but I just think she's been really settling for them. She's picked up a lot of the workload. Georgie Hortis was being tagged out of it. So she's really started to create, but also dominate in that wing attack position. Really strong work from her today.
She was part of the Melbourne Vixens premiership campaign before coming to the Thunderbirds, now in her 2nd year here. 27-year-old Elle McDonald came to Australia from England as an 8-year-old, and aren't we glad she did so?
Absolutely. I mean, you can't underestimate the impact that Shamira Sterling's obviously had on the game today. She's been super strong. She was probably a little bit quiet in round 1, so to really see her take on those intercepts, grab those rebounds, get those deflections, she's been really, really strong. Having
mentioned England and South Africa and Jamaica through this game, big welcome to all our international viewers. We trust you are enjoying Suncorp Super Netball. Fantastic league as we head towards the Commonwealth Games later in the year. Petty did well to take the pass. Now Porges feeds Garrett back to the captain. And Nankivell was close to the 3 seconds as Pittman finds Harton with Shamira Sterling putting the windmill on in front of her face, and Joe Harton says, "You can't faze me." Bang.
But unfortunately, 3 seconds. It was a held ball.
In all the excitement, I'm watching Shamira with the arms going and thinking, that's nonchalant from Joe Harton. She knew. Held ball.
You can really see in these last couple of minutes, obviously Giants trying to keep the game in their hands or trying to get it back. Playing with lots of urgency where T-Birds are just ticking away, option after option, slowly just bringing that clock down.
McDonald wears one, the ball bounces back for Georgie Horges, who goes again. Who are your standout players for the Thunderbirds today, Maddie?
Well, as I just mentioned, I think Sterling's definitely been really strong down there. We've seen another solid effort by Horges. She was a little bit quiet in the first half, but as I said, I've been really impressed with Mel McDonald. Maisie's been quite consistent in the centre. But Shamira Sterling, 122 Nissan net points, and as I said, she's really led from the back, and it's rippled into their attack end with some strong court play.
Yeah, 122 Nissan net points. The closest person to her, as I scan these numbers, is Amy Sliger with 76 in the opposition lineup. Branley pulled by Pittman, quickly looking for Hart, and instead she throws it straight to our Nissan net points leader, who's wearing a big smile and wearing a 2-0 grin, because the Adelaide Thunderbirds, for the first time in Suncorp Super Netball, are 2-0.